So, thanks to the kindness of a complete stranger, I have come into possession of what can only be described as a very good starter collection of vintage computers. I was on Reddit not too long ago looking for a local vintage computer group in my area because my father in law had loaned me two Commodore 64s, and the goal was I get one working and I get to play with it, and I get another one working and I hand it back to him. So, with that mindset, I went looking around on Reddit. I bumped into another user who said, "Hey, I've got a huge collection of stuff and I don't have any plans for it anymore. Come take it off my hands." So, I now have his collection. With that in mind, we're going to be focusing the next handful of videos on the processes that I've gone through to repair and modify these Commodore 64s, 128s, 128Ds, and such. I want to give a big shout out to all the other YouTube channels out there who have been covering this for years. I have been watching your videos and paying close attention to your videos and hope that some of what you've done has rubbed off on me and I will be able to repair these videos. For those of you who are curious, I will be linking all of those other channels in the description below. So with the introduction out of the way, let's take a look at the first steps that I have taken to repair a Commodore 64.
So I'm not going to bore you here with the initial tearing apart of the Commodore 64. Needless to say, I take out the 3 screws, I pull the board out, and I'm starting to clean the exterior of the device because at this point I'm not real certain where to go. I only know that this Commodore 64 has a black screen. You'll see in future videos all the troubleshooting that I go through to figure out how to resolve the issue.
I have to unscrew all of this and I believe unsolder these 2 points here, but unscrew all of this for the keyboard to fall out. And then after the keyboard comes out, we can pop the LED out. And then my goal is to take off every single keycap and clean everything I can on the keyboard all the way down to the base membrane, if it has one, and then put it all back together and hope that it works. Now, this keyboard fortunately has all of its keys. They feel a little stiff, but I'm going to go unsolder these and I'll be right back. I've got those 2 points unsoldered. Now, take our screws out of here. And again, I'm just at this point trying to free up the case itself to be able to clean the outer shell, because while that is being cleaned, I can ultra bright the other stuff. It just does help if you get all of the screws. Looking at the keyboard itself, you can see it's been sitting for a while. We're gonna go through and clean up all of that. And I have a tool which will help me pull all the keys off.
Now you'll see that lighting has changed here, and that's because my overhead light was set to a natural yellow color instead of the bright white color that I need to show off the dirt and everything in the video. So I switched the lighting to correct that.
So first things first is we're going to take a picture, because while I know where most all the keys go, I want to make sure that I know where all the keys go. I'll end up giving each one of these a bath. Oof. That is if I can get them off the... There we go. Each one of these keys has a spring. And then we've got this contact point on the underside of the keyboard. So underneath all of this is a membrane, or a contact point actually, and each key press causes the 2 points on the end of this to touch a circuit and close it, and that way the computer knows what key you're pressing. Now for the other Commodore I have, I was trying to see which kind of keycaps were on, and in doing so I shot one of these springs across the room, so I'm doing my best to hold on to them. As you can see, it's already getting stuck inside my tool here. It's a good one. All right. The space bar appears to have one spring in the middle and 2 latches here, like so. Oh, fairly straightforward. Good. All right, so now I'm going to get all the keys bundled up in a bag and take care of all these springs, and I'll be right back. All right, so as you can see here, I've taken all of the springs and I've placed them onto pipe cleaners so as to keep them all in check and to make sure that they don't get tangled up. We're going to see if that works. As for all the keys, I'm going to take them and put them in my ultrasonic cleaner with a little bit of Dawn dish soap. Basically the same solution we have over here. Some Dawn dish soap, some baking soda, and then we'll go from there. Now, show you what they look like before. You can see they're really dusty, kind of flat looking. So now what I'll do, stick them in my ultrasonic and we'll see what happens. All right, and while the ultrasonic cleaner goes, we'll have one more key to do. We'll have a test key to compare versus the other keys there. But to go through with the cleaning. I'm not going to use soap and water at this point, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to just get as much of this off as possible, because a lot of this is just probably dead skin cells and dust from being in an attic, other things like that. So just going through and doing a mostly dry cleaning of this. Now it appears that I need to take out all of these screws, 3 of which are under this tape, which I will replace because that's got bugs or something in it. I'm not sure if this is factory or not, but maybe we'll replace that with something a little bit different than shipping tape. All right. Now, as I'm going, I'm expecting these to pop out because this is what's holding everything in place. And I'll have to figure out a way to raise up the keyboard mount when I go to put everything back in. These keys I might run through the ultrasonic, or I may just give them an isopropyl bath. I did purchase some 99% isopropyl alcohol. So I'll be able to do that. When it comes to the motherboard, I think I'm going to use a dry brush to get most of the surface dust off. Anything that won't come off after that, we'll get an isopropyl bath as well. And that way we can see what we're really working with and see what I might need to do as far as capacitor replacements. I also ordered 2 full capacitor kits for this unit so that if we need to, we can do a full cap replacement on it. Nothing that I saw indicates that it needs anything, but you never know. I think this might be a date code here. It says 10/8/3/1220. Not really sure. Maybe some of you know, can tell me in the comments. But it's just the date code, or it's just a sticker right here. All right, moment of truth as I lift this up. Ooh, okay. So our Mitsumi KSR A66YF keyboard, other than a little bit of dust, looks absolutely fine. And there's all of our keys. And they look fine too. There's a little, I guess, looks like a rubber spring mechanism right there. So I may end up washing all of these by hand. The keyboard itself, though, will get a full bath. And that explains the soldering earlier. The soldering goes to the only key I couldn't get out, which was the caps lock key, basically. Let's see this guy here.
Now you can see here that I'm struggling to get the shift lock key out. What I don't realize is all I have to do is push on the light gray back and the shift lock key will pop out of the front of the keyboard.
I will do some research and come back to that, but I don't want to break anything. I want to keep as much of this as original as possible. So I am not going to do anything with that for right now. So now that we've got all of the stuff, all of the key switches out of the way, and you see the keys here, they sit just over these contact points, and then when you press down, it closes a circuit causing a key press. It's a pretty cool way of handling things, I think. Just giving this a very light scrub. This I won't have to ultra bright. I've seen some videos where people repaint this to a different color. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave everything as stock looking as possible. At least on this one. I may, depending on what my father-in-law says, may try to play around a little bit with the other one. Got to do some modifications. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments. What kind of modifications can you do on a Commodore 64? And what would you like to see if I can figure out how to do it? Thoughts on this keycap, this key here, so that it should just kind of pop out. Not something I'm seeing here. Just 2 points here. Look like should be able to get to them both. As I said, not trying to break anything, so we'll leave that there. I'm going to go rinse this off, sparing our caps lock key here, and I'll be right back. So incredibly, there's an iFixit for this. This key was in here. You just basically push down, and it comes right out. For the keys themselves, or the key switches, sorry, this is all I'm doing. I don't want to do anything to the spring mechanism. Just gonna lightly dust off basically each and every one of these. And then I'll have to put them all in a bag so that I don't lose them, because I have no idea about the rest of this and cleaning the keyboard and such. Just real quick, I wanted to show you. Here's our control key. Kind of dull and dingy. Now, taking into account that these keys still need to be dried, and I might polish them a little bit too, I'm not really sure, but that's after just one washing. Now, I've still got to rinse them, but yeah, I like how that came out. So I've completely wiped down all of the key stems, and I was trying to figure out exactly what else I might need to do to clean the keys, and was watching a video from Ravenwolf Retro Tech, who says that these are little carbon feet right here that need to be cleaned because they make contact with the little points here on the keyboard when you press down. Now, what he's done is given a tutorial on how to do that, and it's pretty simple. You just take a sheet of regular printer paper, and you take your keycap, and you take your key stem, and you just drag it across the paper very lightly about 2 times, and that cleans off this little piece here. So now that I've done that, I've just got 67 more to do. So now that I've finished cleaning all of that, all we have to do is reverse the process, putting all of our key stems back in, being sure not to touch the recently clean little carbon ends of them. I'm just using a pair of tweezers because it helps me not touch anything. And as you can see, I've got a very sophisticated bowl system here to hold the keyboard up so that the key stems stay in place. I did go through and wipe down each one of these, and I've had the keys themselves soaking outside with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and water for the past couple of hours. Nothing terribly crazy. I was just going to see about getting them a little cleaner, and I'm still going to have to take each one of them and wipe them down. So I figured I would just bring them back in to dry while I do this. All right, and there's all of our key stems. I will take the one key here, which is basically the caps lock. I don't think that's what it's called on the Commodore, but that's basically what it is. And all I'm doing is just kind of, my toothbrush is now dry, so I'm just gonna knock some of the dirt off of here. And then he goes back here, and you have to make sure that he's oriented this way so that he's closer to all the other keys. Now this has been gently wiped off with some 99% isopropyl alcohol. Just put the back on, and Find all my little bitty baby tiny screws. And one by one, we put them back in. I am, however, going to start here in the middle. That way, the majority of the screws are being held in place, or the majority of the keys will be held in place. All right. All of our keys are back in place. Now I'm going to go solder this back in place, and I'll be right back. Just like that, we have our keys soldered back in place. Reapplying the tape, which is just shipping tape, really. And as long as everything is happy, we should be good. All right, so these, like I said, have been soaking in water and hydrogen peroxide for a couple of hours. They look a lot better than they did. I've just kind of been letting them dry. They're still, the lettering's kind of yellow, but I don't know if it needs, if it was always or not. So each one of the keys has kind of a shine to it, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to use this, which is a jewelry cloth. And I'm just going to take a key. And I'm just going to go around the edges here. Just give it a little buff. I'm going to do the top too, but I'm going to be very gentle in the front here. And then I'm going to go through the same thing on the blue part. Compare that to one that I haven't done that to. I think I won't bother. What I'll do instead is I'll take each one of these keys and wipe them down with a microfiber cloth. Okay, so I have all the keys laid out in order because, quite frankly, I need that. And we have all of our springs from earlier. So I am going to now put all of these back in place. We will put these keys back together. Ending with our space bar. And so the space bar is a little trickier because you've got this bar that goes over the whole thing. You've got two latches here. So you've got the bar that clicks into here, and you've got two latches that you need to line up. Then you also need to make sure the keyboard is, or the space bar is on correctly. Maybe I can just hook this way. That is obviously not right. So we just lay the tabs in there, and then what I'm going to do is take a pair of tweezers and position in thusly. Then there we go. A nice clean keyboard. Now I can't assemble the rest of this until I get the ultra bright stuff in, but I am going to wipe these down and maybe put a plastic treatment on them just to give them back some luster.
If you've stuck with me through the entire video, I really appreciate it. I know it's a bit of a long one, but I wanted to give you an idea of the processes that I'm going through in the restoral process for this Commodore 64 that I will be handing back to my father-in-law. I know I didn't show it, but after I finished putting the keyboard back together, I did plug it into a known working Commodore 64 and tested the keyboard, and it's working just fine. That was part one of what's going to end up being a series of videos on this Commodore 64 restoration. In the next video, I'll show you the process I went through to clean up and make minor repairs to the case itself, including my retro bright attempt. And you can tell me what you think about retro brighting products in the comments below. I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet. I've had the one attempt, but I have several more Commodores to go through, so after this series, you'll see some more. As always, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I have making it. My name is Bryant. This is Reviews for Nerds. Have a great day.